Okay. Hello, Mr. Layton. My name's David. We're from Toronto here, and we're just representing a group of people who were affected by the G20. So my first question is going to be about the G20. And we want to know, firstly, where Stephen Harper went wrong. I live at Spadina in Bremner, and I had my rights just arbitrarily removed. I couldn't get home. I use a wheelchair. It was difficult for me to even make it down the street, and I was being rushed around the city, and I wasn't active at all prior to that happening, and I realized that if my rights could be removed arbitrarily like that, then I have to do something to make sure that that doesn't happen again. So my question is this: where did Harper go wrong, and what would you do differently to ensure that that wouldn't happen to me again in the future?
First of all, we need to get to the bottom of what really took place there at the G20, and that's why we're calling for a full public inquiry. Because I have to tell you that we have to learn some lessons, and if we're going to do that, we've got to get to the bottom of what exactly happened. Where did the instructions go so wrong that you ended up with what we ended up seeing on television and having their people's rights essentially taken away from them? We've got to learn from this experience. So I'm not going to give you a simple answer saying that I knew exactly where Stephen Harper went wrong, because I think that this was a failure of several governments to really realize that you have to ensure that people's human rights are protected when you're dealing with an international gathering like that. And we ended up with mass arrests, with temporary jails, horrible stories coming out of those, and really something that shouldn't be happening in Canada. I have a feeling that clearer directions need to have come right from the top when it comes to these questions of ensuring that free speech takes place. I mean, we even apparently had people being arrested in the area that had been set aside for free speech.
Exactly.
That tells you something was gravely wrong.
I see. Okay, so my next question is this. Well, actually, before I go any further, I need to say this.
You better put that mic right up there, yeah.
I remember being on right where the police car was burning at Queen and Spadina.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to find an alleyway that I remembered to be able to cut down the alleyway to get around the police. As I got around the wall of police, I noticed there was about 300 officers roughly, and they were laying in the ground in a bunch of manure, actually. So they were forced to be there. It was pungent in the air. And these people have called this the stand-down order or whatever. So I'm asking if you heard of that or if you knew anything of what took place.
I hadn't heard about that particular aspect.
When the car was burning.
I haven't heard about that, so I look forward to more information. But this is the kind of thing that an inquiry will get to the bottom of.
Okay. My friends and I talk about a direct versus representative democracy. We have a representative democracy right now. I'm going to give you my vote, but I want to know, am I just giving you a 4-year license, or what are you doing that's going to move from a representative democracy to a more direct democracy? So I could feel as though I can give more input in the future than just my vote.
I think, first of all, that members of Parliament need to have good systems to communicate with their constituents, and that's really, really important. I think direct democracy is most easily achieved in local and community government, actually, because you're so close. And I spent a lot of time on a city council where you'd work directly with people on projects that actually changed a neighborhood. That's that kind of direct participation. A little tougher on a national scale when you're talking about developing a national taxation policy or a national defense policy. But with the tools that are available now for people to participate and have a say, as long as it's done in a way that's intelligent and not just, superficial, then I think we could go a long way to creating a more direct and engaged kind of democracy. And I think that's what people want to see. Open government is the place to start, where you make the information that government has available to the people. And that's one of the commitments we're making as part of our digital strategy.
Awesome, that's great. I was thinking in line. My friends and I talk about more referendums, quorums, public opinion polls. With Twitter and the online medium we have right now, you can get the public's opinion on every last issue. So this online thing is going to be something I'm going to look more into, and it sounds like you guys are on the right track with that. Yeah. Okay, so moving on to my final question. It's the 25th anniversary of the Chernobyl meltdown that took place in Russia tonight. There's going to be a vigil on Bay Street tonight, and I'm not sure if you're aware or not. Well, I'm hoping that you're aware that we just leaked about 200,000 liters of water that contained radioactive isotopes into Lake Ontario here.
Yes.
I have my Sea-Doo at the Toronto Island Marina. I live in City Place condo. I want to know, am I going to be safe to go drive my Sea-Doo? Am I safe drinking the water? And what will you do with regard to the power plants that we have here?
Well, the first thing is, our view is that our focus on energy should be on green energy and energy efficiency. So we don't favor the subsidization of new nuclear power by the taxpayer. What we are also concerned about is the standards that are in place for the regulation of the plants that actually exist. We should be very concerned about leaks of this sort that you've just described. And we've seen that Mr. Harper has almost a disdain for the regulatory agencies that are responsible for this kind of supervision. He fired the person who was in charge of Linda Keane, who was in charge of the agency that was supposed to essentially be arm's length from government to make sure that if there was a problem, it was identified. And governments have to be big enough to be able to accept criticism and learn from it. And so we've got to strengthen those kinds of institutions and have them be less susceptible to political influence.
Great, great. Thank you so much, sir. It was wonderful to talk to you.
All right. Well, good to talk with you.
Awesome.